Okay, if you have diabetes or someone you love does, I need you to listen up. This is, without a doubt, one of the most important explainers we've ever put together. We're talking about your vision and how millions are at risk of losing it, often with absolutely no warning. So let's jump right in and talk about how you can save your sight.
Let's just start with a really stark fact. This isn't some rare, fringe condition we're discussing. Diabetic eye disease is the single leading cause of new cases of blindness for adults in their working years. That one statistic alone shows you just how high the stakes are.
And here is the truly dangerous part of this whole thing. It's the detail that just catches so many people completely off guard. What if your eyes could be suffering serious, progressive, irreversible damage, and you feel totally fine? You know, no pain, no blurry vision, not a single warning sign. Well, that's not a what if. It's the silent reality of how this disease works.
So the condition we're putting under the microscope today is called diabetic retinopathy. The name might sound a little complicated, but what it really is a silent threat. It's something that works in the background, sometimes for years, before you ever know it's there.
So just how common is this silent threat? Well, take a look at this number. About 1 in every 3 people living with diabetes has some form of it. Think about that. This isn't some far-off risk for other people. It is a widespread complication that every single person with diabetes, whether it's type 1 or type 2, really needs to take seriously.
All right, so how does this actually happen? How does diabetes lead to eye damage? Let's dive into the mechanics of it, because understanding how it happens is really the first step in knowing how you can fight back.
At its very core, diabetic retinopathy is a blood vessel disease. We're talking about the tiny, incredibly delicate vessels that supply blood to your retina. Now the retina, that's the light-sensitive layer at the very back of your eye. Think of it like the film in a camera. And the main culprit that damages these little vessels? You guessed it, persistently high blood sugar.
You know, an easy way to picture it is to think of those blood vessels like a network of tiny water pipes. High blood sugar, over time, acts like a corrosive acid, just slowly weakening the walls of those pipes. They start to develop these little bulges, they begin to leak fluid and blood, and eventually they can get blocked off or even burst. And when that fluid leaks into the center of your retina, that's a condition called macular edema, and it can cause serious blurriness at any stage.
Now this damage doesn't happen overnight. It progresses through 4 pretty distinct stages. Let's walk through them. In stage 1, it's called mild. This is where those tiny bulges start appearing in the vessel walls. And here's the crucial part. There are almost always 0 symptoms. Then comes stage 2, moderate, where some of those pipes start to get blocked. You might notice a little blurriness here. Stage 3 is severe. A lot more vessels are blocked, your retina is starving for oxygen, and it starts sending out panic signals to grow new ones. And that leads to the most dangerous stage, stage 4, proliferative. This is where the eye starts growing new blood vessels, but they're incredibly weak and fragile. They bleed easily and can lead to major vision loss.
I really want you to let this sink in, because if you take away only one thing from this entire explainer, this should be it. You can have real, measurable damage happening inside your eye. You could be in stage 2 or even heading into stage 3 and see and feel completely normal. Waiting for symptoms to show up is just not a safe strategy. It's a gamble you can't afford to take.
So, when things do finally become noticeable, what does that look like? Well, you might start seeing floaters, those little dark spots or cobwebs that just drift around in your vision. Your sight might get blurry, or maybe it fluctuates, better one day, worse the next. You could develop dark or even empty spots in your field of vision, notice the colors look kind of faded, or just find it a lot harder to see at night. If you're experiencing any of these, it means the disease is already in a more advanced stage.
And this visual just says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you have a clear, crisp view of the world, and on the right, the reality of what advanced retinopathy can look like: blurry, patchy, with dark spots blocking out parts of the picture. This is exactly what we're all trying to prevent.
Okay, that was the problem. And I know it sounds pretty serious. But now, let's pivot. Because this is not a story without hope. In fact, it's the opposite. There is a clear, proven, vision-saving action plan. And honestly, it is incredibly powerful. How powerful? This number says everything. Up to 90% of severe vision loss from diabetes is preventable. Let me say that again, 90%. Blindness is not an inevitable outcome of diabetes. For the vast majority of people, it is preventable. That is a message of incredible hope. So, what is it? What's the #1 defense? It is the annual dilated eye exam. And I want to stress, this isn't just the quick check for a new glasses prescription. This is a comprehensive exam where an eye doctor uses drops to open up your pupils so they can get a clear, direct view of the back of your eye and inspect every one of those tiny blood vessels. It is your single most important tool.
And the guidelines for this are crystal clear. If you have type 2 diabetes, you need to get that first exam the moment you're diagnosed. For type 1, you get your first screening within 5 years of diagnosis. And for everyone, after that first check, it becomes a non-negotiable, lifelong annual appointment. This exam is how doctors catch those silent early signs before you ever could.
And what happens if they do find something? The news is still good. Modern medicine has incredible treatments. There are injections called anti-VEGFs that can actually stop those bad leaky vessels from growing. There are laser treatments that can seal up leaks. And for really advanced cases, there's even surgery called a vitrectomy that can clear out blood and scar tissue. We have the tools to fight this disease head-on.
But, and this is a really important but, we have to be crystal clear. These amazing treatments are all about stopping the disease from getting worse. They are fantastic at preserving the vision you still have. What they can't always do is restore vision that you've already lost. And that is why early detection isn't just important, it is absolutely everything.
All right, this brings us to the final and, frankly, most empowering part of this whole discussion. Because beyond just screening, there are things you can do every single day to actively prevent this damage from starting in the first place. You can take control.
Just look at this number. This comes from a huge landmark study. It found that tight blood sugar control reduced the risk of developing retinopathy by a staggering 76%. That is not a small difference. That is a massive protective shield you can build around your eyes through your daily actions. So here it is, your prevention action plan boiled down to 5 critical points. Number 1, as we just saw, is controlling that blood sugar and your A1C. But also, you've got to manage your blood pressure and your cholesterol. And it makes sense, right? They're also vital for the health of all your blood vessels. Quitting smoking is an absolute must. And finally, the one that ties it all together, never ever skip that annual dilated eye exam.
That first point, controlling your blood sugar, is the cornerstone of prevention. And this is where using modern tools can be a total game changer. Something like My Gheware lets you track your glucose trends so you can really start to see the patterns and understand how your body reacts to different foods or activities. That knowledge is power, and it's key to staying on target.
So we end with this simple truth. The science is clear. The path forward is laid out. Your vision is overwhelmingly savable. So the only question left is a personal one. For you, when is your next eye exam? If you don't have an answer, now's the time to pick up the phone and make that call.
And of course, just a quick reminder that this information is for educational purposes. It is not a substitute for medical advice from your doctor. Please, always talk to your healthcare team for guidance that's specific to you, and if you ever have sudden vision changes, seek medical care immediately. Thank you for watching. Please take care of your eyes.